welcome to our weekly sales meeting. I'm Vandana. You're probably wondering what in the world I'm doing with this necklace. I forgot my jewelry today, so figured I'd decorate it with some tickets for our raffle. Where are you, Mrs. Sherry KK? Come on up here really quick. I don't know if I was supposed to do this part, but I'm doing it anyway. Yeah.
It's for the kids.
I like the booze, bacon, and boobs section a lot, so it's my segment.
No comment.
Okay, please, to add your
Yeah. Good morning. We all have mine.
Good morning, everybody.
A beautiful necklace like mine, it's $20.
$20 for that beautiful necklace. All proceeds are going to the American Cancer Society for breast cancer. Making Strides Walk is October 24th. We'd love for you all to come. Contact me, Sherry Killian Kuzmanovich. You can call me 702-338-4174. We meet at Lazy Dog, 7 in the morning, and we do the big walk. So in the meantime, we are doing fundraisers for the event, for the big fund. And today I'm raffling off coffee-flavored Baileys, and very nice gift, and also honey Jack Daniels with the two little, party glasses that comes with it. So see me or Ralph, actually Roya. I have so many people back there helping me, it's so great. So I just want to mention too, the other fundraiser that we are doing, we've decided this year to collaborate, not compete. And we have made the Ta-Ta Alliance. And they are agents from previous Signature, other, brokerages, who cares? We're working together to make this really fun event, a scavenger hunt. It's October the 9th, and the registration information is not on this flyer.
Oh, well.
So again, contact me and I will help you get registered. It's going to be a $50 buy-in, teams of 2. It's going to be a blast. Pardon me?
2 people?
2 people, yes, 2 people, and the list will be hysterical. It's 10 to 2 on October 9th, downtown Summerlin. If you need more information, again, contact me, Sherry Killian Kuzmanovich, 702-338-4174. Thanks.
You can also find her on the Signature app.
Oh, yeah. As Sherry KK.
Thank you. So $20 for either one of these for raffling off. Beautiful necklace. It can also be a belt for those of you who are skinny enough to get it around that way. Garter belt. Do it for whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You'll have to buy $60 worth.
Thank you for that.
All right. So, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah. All right. So, book drive. Book drive. This box is still freaking empty, you guys. Bring your books in here. So people keep asking me what kind of books can they bring? Any books. All books. They just can't have the Dewey Decimal System from a library, so you shouldn't have stolen them. But you can bring anything else.
Will you take old encyclopedias?
No old encyclopedias. Your mom's stuck with them. Sorry. You get to inherit those, Chris. Nobody wants those.
When is
ever.
Over? When do you need
It's over by the end of the month because September is Literacy Month.
Are you dropping them off at a certain time?
They're going to pick them up in the beginning of October. So you have all month to do this. And then, I was going to do needs and wants. Who's got some needs and wants?
Yes.
Oh, look at Tyson. He got all dressed up because he had a needs and want.
All right. So this is actually from our team and Lisette, who's not here today. So we have a...
Come here.
Why can go
Come here.
All right. So we have a 2-story house up in the north, giant attached garage workshop with car lift and everything.
Car lift, Shelley.
North.
660?
So he spent over $100,000 developing this giant garage, and he restores cars in there. So it has the original garage as well as a giant attached one, like 30-foot ceilings.
How many bedrooms?
Your buyer's in the front row.
Yeah, 4 bed.
But it's in the north, so you'd have to give up
garage
Henderson.
Where's that at? Like,
Straight up.
Not far north.
North.
660?
What's the address?
Oh, I don't have the address. Again, this one's not mine, this is Lisette, she just said to put
Okay.
it on here. So, message me on the app and I could get you the additional details if you're interested. We also have a Summerlin townhouse, a 3-2, 1,600 square feet going live this week with community center, pool, workout facility for $465. And then we also have someone listing a condo around $200,000 off Sahara and Durango if anyone's interested.
How many bedrooms?
2-2. And then also, I have someone that's looking for...
Sold.
I have someone that's looking for a house with a renter in it. Long-term lease, preferably 3-4 beds, just kind of standard house, just no pool. So if you have
I've got one.
anything coming up, they'll buy it sight unseen.
Wait,
I've got one.
All right, let's talk.
5925.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Who else?
I could rent my home, right? So-
Needs and wants? Yes. Come on up. Hi.
Everybody. So I actually have a condo going live on the 20th. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath, 2700 North Rainbow Boulevard, Building 19, Unit 2140. So it's a 2-bed, 2-bath. Once again, it's a gated community, 2 pools, 2 spas, fitness center. Priced again at $205. I didn't mention that, and then $205, yes. And then I was just hired this morning to sell a townhouse. Also, that zip code for the condo is 890108. And then I just got hired this morning.
That's one more number than you need.
Right.
89108. Sorry.
Okay. So that's over by like Smoke Ranch.
This is why she like reads everything and like informs us, because
Hammer.
you must have like a red pen like all over your desk, don't you? That wasn't a burn, y'all.
I'm pretty damn proud of it. I don't mind.
Creating unnecessary drama early in the morning. And this morning, I was hired for a 3-bed, 2-bath townhouse in the 89129 zip code. I sold that about 6 years ago, so I need to get more details, but I will be listing that also next week.
Oh, you don't know the price.
No, but that address is 4020 Castle Cove Drive.
Cuckoo. Thank you very much. Who else? Needs, wants, anyone? Going once. Ooh, hi. Come on up.
Good
Okay,
morning,
price is
everyone.
255, sorry.
I have a listing down the street on Vistana apartment complex. 2-bedroom, 2 beds, first floor, the attached garage, and it looks like I have another one coming up on the 3rd floor, same 2-bedroom, 2 beds, the attached.
How much?
garage.
Attached garage, how much?
The attached.
Okay,
Detached.
detached.
Sorry.
No problem.
The first floor is listed for 230,000, and then the 3rd floor one will be listed for 219,500.
Sold. No, not this one? Okay. So, cool, thank you. She's tapped out. Come on up. This is the best needs and wants we've
Three-story
had. I love
condo for
it.
$139,900.
I do have a condo. I do have a condo for $135.
I did not push him.
It's scary.
35?
That red pen.
What? 135?
135,000. It's over by the convention center. It is a 3-story loft. It's I keep having it in escrow. It's beautiful. It's got brand new air conditioning as of yesterday. I've got this house you guys all want. It's 2.65 million out in Southern Highlands. It is 5-bedroom, 6-bath. I can't read this, it's too small. And I still have a house out of Lake Las Vegas for $580,000. That's it.
The loft is really cool though.
Thank you. The loft is
The
cool.
loft is really cool. And it has great air conditioning.
That
I
was
like it.
135 for the lot.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
Have one that's happening.
All right, come on up. I
There's really
love
no
this.
bed.
This is great.
Just the loft.
Oh, it's on the wall. Which is-
I have one that's currently being remodeled right now, so it's going to probably be listed in about a month. It's going to be just under 100,000 actually. It's going to be it's a studio condo right next to attached to UNLV. So it's right there, right off
Attached to
the.
UNLV?
like,
right
literally,
on
like,
the-
it
Are you
has-
selling a dorm room?
No, basically, so it's a studio condo. It literally has a gate that opens up and you can walk right into campus from
Nice.
that area. It's at
How much?
4600 University Center. It should be right under 100,000.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Rental, schools, yeah.
8,000 a
I think
semester,
one
that's
of
a
my
deal.
I know, right?
Teenagers.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else?
You guys are great selection.
All right, sounds good. What else are you guys supposed to do?
Shelley.
Oh, yeah, Shelley Penn. Prosperity Lending.
All right, happy Tuesday, everyone. So I had a question about solar panels. How many of you have homes with solar panels on them? So the question was posed by an agent that said, hey, what happens when our seller wants to transfer the solar to your buyer? Do you have to count that payment in their debt to income ratio? What do you think the answer is?
Yes.
I did not know that answer. Really? How'd you know that?
We've all designed one.
Okay, so there is actually a difference though when you have what they call a PPA. Do you guys know what a PPA is? Is that? It's, I know. Power Purchase Agreement. So when somebody actually has a power purchase agreement, that actually just means it's their utility. So they're basically like leasing their solar panels. And if you can show that that actual agreement is solely for the utility aspect of it and the energy aspect of it, then we don't have to include that in a buyer's debt to income ratio. But otherwise, if you have the UCC, which is the lien, thank you to Ms. Monanabala, you have a buyer who's going to be taking over somebody's solar panels, or your seller doesn't want to include it in their purchase price, that buyer has to be qualified for that payment. And so as you're doing your pre-qualifications with us, if you know that they're going to be coming up on a home that they're looking at that has a solar on, or that has solar on it, solar panels on it, please make sure to let your lenders know so that they can actually qualify them and make sure that there's no issues as far as their DTI at the end. As far as, because one question was, well, how, if you include this in their value, in the sales price, that obviously has to be accounted for in their appraisal. And that is correct, just like your pool options, right? You're going to include that inside of, your pools. When you pay for them, typically they go on a second, or there is a HELOC or something like that. So it's a loan that has to get paid off as well. And that can be included as far as value, right? But maybe not dollar for dollar value on whatever the pool or that solar panel is. But it is something that we're seeing typically that they're included in the sales price. But in this particular case, this seller is actually transferring the loan to our buyer. And now our buyer has to pre-qualify for that mortgage, or for that financing.
I'll throw it out there too. If there still is a loan on it, they won't give you value on the appraisal for them at all, like for whatever reason.
So portion of it, they won't give you full value, because I did ask one of our, Harry, who usually comes in here, I asked him the question as far as, will you give 100% value on it if it's liened? And they won't. They'll, not even 50%, but they will give a little bit of value because it is an energy efficiency that most homes don't have, or some homes don't have. Any questions at all for me? All right, I'm handing the baton over to Todd Barton. Give it up for Todd.
Thank you. Hey, so good morning. I've often stood up here and talked to you guys about how to grow your business and how to make money, right? Does everybody remember that?
Yes.
All right, good. I thought I was talking to myself. So today I want to talk to you about how to save some money. All right, I had an experience this week that I thought, and Vonina, you can't say a word. Okay?
I'll just walk out the room.
As soon as I start to explain this, she's going to be standing back there jumping around wanting to just zip it up, girl. All right, so I had an experience this week with a listing. I have a client that lives kind of out in the Southwest, and they live in a cul-de-sac, and the house next door to them, a sign went in the front yard. So she immediately goes next door to the neighbor, and there had been the owner of the home had passed away recently. She had known that, and they are interested in buying that property with a neighbor that lives on the other side. They're actually going to tear it down and build a park there. Weird, I know, but I don't even know if they can do that, but it would be kind of cool in the cul-de-sac. Anyway, so she rushes over to talk to the daughter that has the property, and finds out that there's a sign in the front yard. Anytime you guys think you know what I'm talking about or what the problem here is, I want you to raise your hand, okay? So she calls me on the phone and she says, hey, listen, Ralph's house next door just went on the market, and we'd like to see what it's on the market for, and probably put an offer in. Us and the guy across the street, we're going to pay cash, we're just going to buy it. We've been planning this for years, and we've been waiting for him to pass, and he's finally done this.
Oh, I know, they may want to look into that debt.
So I said, okay, great. Let me check it out and get on the MLS, and I can't find the house listed on the MLS. And so I call her back, and I'm like, why do you think it's for sale? She says, well, there's a sign in the front yard. I said, okay, cool. Let me check it tomorrow for you, because it could take 24 hours for it to actually hit the market. So I checked it the next day, still not on the MLS. She's like, there's a sign in the front yard. I'd like to put it in offer. And I'm like, you think you know what's wrong?
No, I don't know what's wrong, but I want to know who signed it.
You gotta sign something.
No, is it just for sale, or is it a broker?
No, the MLS states that if it's a sign on it, you have to have an MLS with 24 hours.
All right, we're getting close. We're getting hot. We might even have got there, okay? So I said, listen, take a picture of the sign and send it to me. She goes outside, she takes a picture of the sign, she sends it to me. I call the number on the sign, so yeah, there's a number on the sign, there's a company, Her comment to me in the text she sent was, "It looks like a Mickey Mouse company, but here's the picture." And I'm like, okay, let's not be mean about this. Let me just call them up. So I call the number, there's no answer, I leave a message. Another day goes by, I kind of forgot about it. Another day goes by and she calls me up and she goes, "What's going on?" This is a longtime client of mine, okay, so there's no jeopardy that I'm actually gonna get fired here. But she goes, "Look, we wanna buy the house, we need to know what's going on." I'm like, well, it's not on MLS yet. And I called the number yesterday on the sign twice, she didn't answer. She said, I called the number twice this morning and they didn't answer either. So finally the daughter, she sees the daughter pull up to the house, so she rushes over there. She obviously just sits in the front window of her house and watches cars all night. She goes over and the daughter says, "Well, yeah, it was supposed to go on the market, but there's been a problem with the will, and the attorneys are straightening that out right now. And as soon as they get that straightened out, then it'll actually hit the MLS." She's like, "Okay, great. I just want to make sure I wasn't going to miss out on it," because she's aware of the market moving very quickly, right? So does anybody see a problem yet?
Yes.
Not you, Lana. I know you know the problem.
Probate-ish?
No probate. No, it was in a trust. It was, yeah, there was no probate needed. There was just some language that was weird or something, and the attorneys kind of slowed it down. So now it's been on the market. It's almost been a week, or excuse me, it's been a sign in the front yard. It's almost been a week. Now somebody goes and hangs an open house on Saturday sign on the sign. And so she sends me a picture of that and says, "I'll get to see it on Saturday because there's going to be an open house." And I'm like, "Well, it's still not on the market. The person still hasn't called me back." She's like, "This is ridiculous. Like, if I didn't know you, I would call other agents. Like, I know this lady very well." And I'm like, "I hear you, but there's not much I can do if I can't get a phone call back and it's not yet listed in MLS." So Saturday happens, no open house. There's a sign that says there's going to be one, no open house happens. Come around to Tuesday, which is the Tuesday after Labor Day, still not on MLS, still got a sign in the front yard. She's even more mad, like she's calling me, texting me, sending me pictures of the sign's still here, what are we gonna do about this? So you said what the problem is. What's the problem?
They're advertising property publicly without.
Okay, so they're advertising the property for sale prior to it hitting MLS. Has everybody heard of, what's it called?
Clear cooperation.
Clear cooperation, right? You guys have heard that. It's a fairly new rule. I think people get tripped up on it once in a while. So clear cooperation says that you cannot advertise publicly a property for sale unless it hits the MLS within 24 hours of you publicly marketing it. Now, there's some ways to maybe stretch that a little bit longer if you want to, but the bottom line is the rule says 24 hours. So unfortunately, I reached out to Stephanie at the MLS and said, "Hey, can I get some clearer understanding of clear cooperation?" And she sent me the policy and she said, "Do you have something?" And I sent her the pictures. And so how much do you think that cost that agent?
500.
500, okay?
No, it's more than that.
1,500, I think is the first.
Yeah.
How much?
Isn't it 1,500 at first?
It's $1,000. So the challenge here is that there was a problem with the will. They put a sign up and then they just kind of sat back and waited until they could get that straightened out. What should they have done? Gotta take the sign down, right? So it cost that agent $1,000. Here's the other bad side. My client rushed over when she seen the sister the next time and told the sister that her agent turned her in for leaving the sign. So I hope she doesn't know who I am, but maybe. But I'm okay. So guys, it's easy to happen, right? People don't always do it intentionally. It can be just a mistake. Oh, we got a problem. Okay, I ordered the sign up, and then you get a neighbor next door that sits in her front yard and just watches it all day long, and this kind of thing happens. So does everybody get that? Any questions about that? No publicly marketing a property until you know it's going to be in the MLS within 24 hours.
It includes coming soon? You can put it on coming soon.
No, so publicly. Coming soon only gets advertised to the people who are members of the MLS, right?
So you can't put a sign while it's coming soon?
No.
Same thing.
There was a hand over here somewhere.
It was me.
Go ahead.
Am I allowed to talk?
You can talk now. Yeah.
So the
Can't
purpose
stop
of
it.
coming soon is so that you can get the property ready for putting it onto the MLS, but it cannot be to the detriment of cooperating brokers.
There are definitely loopholes in that. I have found them and I've done them, but I want to just remind everybody that coming soon means that the property's getting ready for market and it shouldn't be publicly marketed. So you're not supposed to have a sign on there as long as it's not to the detriment of other brokers. Does that make sense? So you can't be showing it to buyers, to potential buyers, and nobody else is allowed.
No other realtors.
Huh?
No other realtors.
No other realtors are allowed, yeah.
Right, so, I think, this is a situation where an agent was just doing her job, she put the sign up, she was getting ready to go, and then the owner shut her down, she didn't catch it, she got a nosy neighbor who then wanted something done about it. So, it's easy to let it happen, and so I just want you to pay attention. 24 hours is all you get. Unless you want to talk to Vandana about the loophole that gets you a little bit longer than 24 hours.
It's one business day, which is not the same.
It is one business day.
What could the agent have done, even though she got the sign up and it was a mistake to have it up? What could she have done to appease Todd so he didn't file a complaint?
Call him back.
Communication, he could have given the information to his buyer so she's not getting frustrated and we're taking all the pressure off.
Yeah, I mean,
on 60 minutes later too.
For me, I looked at it like if this wasn't a longtime client of mine, if this wasn't somebody that I knew very well, I wouldn't have been the agent anymore. I mean, she was literally visually frustrated that she couldn't find out about this piece of land or this house next door to hers, and they've been planning to buy this for years. Like since Ralph retired, he was a fireman. He was going to die any day, and it's been several years, and they're very anxious to get this house torn down and put this park there for all their grandkids, right? I mean, this is a real thing. So, Thomas first.
Since they didn't put in the MLS, and obviously it was a long period of time, obviously we're not supposed to actively try to pursue a listing that's already listed, but since it wasn't listed, what stopped you from going to that door saying, hey, your neighbor wants to buy the house, I'd be happy to represent you on the listing and the buying side? Because
They still have a contract.
They still have a
If
contract.
they still have a listing agreement, they have a contract.
Okay.
Yeah, now, they have a listing agreement. Just because they weren't following doesn't mean they don't have a signed listing agreement, even if it's not in the MLS within the time period that it should be in the MLS, even if, I mean, there's lots of, so, and I'm way lazier than that.
No, I'm just curious, what's happening now? I mean, like, is the sign down, is it still up?
No, it's on the market. She got fined $1,000 and hit the market the next day.
So now it is,
The neighbor get fined for the park?
No, they want $850,000, it's worth about $4. So the daughter's trying to cash in on something that's not gonna work out for her. So when it comes down a little bit, we may readdress that. At least it's in the MLS now, we can watch it, we can see what's going on.
You can watch it expire.
All right, any questions about clear cooperation, 1 business day, I'm sorry, 1 business day?
Because that is different.
It is, I mean, it definitely is different. I mean, I could argue, what is a business day, or we're real estate agents, have you all worked on Saturday before? Have you all worked on a Sunday before? What is a business day? Like, it's actually defined by, I can argue.
Don't make it
but-
one business day.
Yeah, you can take, it's your $1,000, you can take that chance if you want. I'm not paying your $1,000 fine.
So do you want me to tell you what the definition says in clear?
I actually don't.
Okay.
My foot's getting sore. There isn't, no, it's defined. There is a definition. Again, if you want to go argue with MLS about the definition, and hopefully they'll follow your definition or where you get it from, then you can take that chance. It's your $1,000. You up?
Yes.
Oh, it's Chris. I'll turn it over, please.
Thanks, Todd.
Wow. So if you guys didn't know, if you haven't gotten an email from the board, the LVR elections are going on. I can see the excitement in all of your eyes. And so we have a number of people that are going to impact that election. And so we're going to have a little meet the candidates of signature. Sound like a plan, right? Yeah. Excited? Oh, yeah, right? Okay. So who are our candidates? We have, of course, our incoming president, Mr. Brandon Roberts. Let's give him a round of applause. Take a seat, Brandon, any seat.
I already won the election.
Yeah. He's going to get the tough questions. And then, of course, we have Ellie Morris, who's running for director. Give it up for Ellie. And to your surprise, I'm also running for director, too, so I'm going to get a So I thought we'd go through a little bit of the test questions that we've gotten from other groups. If you want to stop us for a question, Vanna, if you want to follow up on something I say, whatever it is, She didn't get that. Okay, so we also have people at home. Beta's going to watch the chat for their questions, so please, you can stop us for follow-up. And so, Brandon, we're going to start with you. And you probably answered this question once, but tell us why you wanted to be LVR president.
Still trying to figure it out. No, so years ago I joined the board. I did a 3-year term, 2 terms, a 1 year and then a 2 year, because I came in the back end of somebody that had moved up, so I got the 1 year and then I got a 2. And I always wanted to kind of advance and give back more and see, because when you're on the board of directors, there's also what's called the executive committee. Executive committee is like your president, president-elect, your vice president, and your treasurer. They meet the week before the board meeting, kind of set the agenda, and I always wanted to see what kind of went on there. And so I wasn't ready at the time because we're building our company, we're opening some offices, and I didn't have the key people in place to actually support that. And a lot of times you see people run for the board and it really affects their business. And I didn't want it to affect signatures, so we got good people here that can run this, as you know. Well, maybe you don't even know. I wasn't even here the last 2 weeks. I was on vacation. And everything ran better. So, but the reason, let's go back, right? Mike was there too. Maybe that's why it went better. I don't know. So, we're both gone. So why did I want to run? I looked at it, a lot of people start out with treasurer and kind of move up. And honestly, there was somebody else running, and I had a lot of people push me to run against the person, right? And the year before that, I was actually in the election, and I stepped back so that he could excel. But the next year, I said enough is enough, and so I ran, and I had a huge support from the board and everybody else pushing to get me to that position. So I looked at it and I said, and this is long-winded, I'm sorry. I looked at it and said, some of the issues that I really wanted to work with was communication. Communication's tough. And you'll hear a lot of the board candidates talking about all the things they're going to change when they become a member of the board of directors. It's not like that, right? You can influence stuff and you can start to make some changes, but I think communication is a big key and a big fault that we have in our industry across the way, not just with the board, because so many people communicate differently and through email and different things like that. And that's why we brought the signature app here, was to try to get a better communication for them. So short answer to the long story is really to help develop better communication with the members.
Elliot, tell us why you're running.
I want to.
There you go.
I want to make it, I was trying to say.
I like him already.
Yeah.
I took all his time.
The real reason I want to run, I ran last year and didn't win, unfortunately, but the reason I want to get involved and get on the board is I do believe that I am just the regular guy out there. I'm in the trenches, I list homes, I sell homes. I mean, I work with buyers, I do everything the average realtor does, and I just feel I can be a voice for all of our realtors. You know, I'm not shy. So if there's something going on there that I don't like, believe me, I will not sit back and just twiddle my thumbs. I'll pipe up. And I promise you that I will be your voice out there.
Absolutely.
Now ask Chris the question.
Okay, Chris, what's your reason?
Because Ellie told me to, no, I'm kidding. So, you know, it's weird to be a past president, because it's kind of like you've spent all this time learning these things about the association, and it's a skill you can't use anywhere, right? Because no one cares about the budget that you know about that doesn't happen in real life. And so I think that I saw an investment from the association in me to help me get to this point to move forward. And you know how when you get to finally do a job and you're there doing it, it's different the way you would have gotten there, right? You learned a lot along the way. And so I feel that the only way I can really give back the money that they've invested in me is to get back on the board and provide that perspective of, I've been there and here's what we learned. It's really important in any board. Janet and I have been through it a lot of years, where we talk about new blood, new people coming on, but we've got so much new blood that we forgot about why we did it to begin with. And we lost a lot of the heritage, I think, of the people that were there. And so, funny enough, I'm one of the younger candidates. I'm not going to hold that over anybody, but I'm here saying that we need some history on the board too. So that's why I'm.
And I think that brings a big perspective, because as decisions are made in the boardroom, there's a lot of things that people go down this path of trying to change, or change back, and they don't understand the history of why that decision was made. So having people that have been through those decisions on there to actually talk about why that decision was made helps actually that board make better decisions.
So, Brandon, I would ask you, what's your election strategy? You've already won, so that was probably it, right?
Just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Don't get impeached.
Ellie, tell us a little bit about your strategy that you're using to secure your election.
Well, what I'm doing mostly is just Facebook. If I'm invited to appear somewhere, I of course will go and hopefully do well there. But yeah, I'm doing some. Tom did a great promo for me last week, and I'm putting up Janet's. I quoted Janet and a few other people and made posters. Beta's been a huge, of course, help. He did it all. And just promoting it on Facebook is my biggest thing I've been doing.
So mine's a little bit different, as you can guess. People are tired of hearing from me. So mine is not the video blast, but more of the election at the end point. You notice that there's probably 700 votes needed to get a director race. And so I noticed during my last elections that a lot of people will look at you and say, yeah, I voted. But then if you take them over to the computer and actually log them in, they haven't voted yet. So I think the biggest strategy I've gotten is to push hard the last 2 or 3 days of the election. It's where you get a lot of those people that just forget about it because of all of the things going on. And I think that for someone brand new to the election, you have to do the videos, you have to do the marketing pieces, you have to get your name out there. And it's a lot of the brokerages that are pulling most of the support, because we only get about 2,800 votes. And you'll notice that consistently it's the groups that participate that are really deciding our leadership.
Right. The big strategy is actually to get endorsements from other brokers and bigger companies to secure those votes, so they're promoting it. Because not everybody in the companies vote, for sure. But one thing I'm proud of Signature is I think we have a very high vote ratio, because usually the people that we support win. We've had people that have worked in another company, lost 2 or 3 times in an election, came here, actually won, left, and then lost. So I think we have a big pool here, and I really appreciate everything that you guys do in supporting the election and supporting the candidates. And the other thing is, if you want to run in the future, is really looking at building those relationships and talking to other people at other brokerages and getting involved in the board and building those relationships, because that would be instrumental in you being able to be elected into a position if that's what you choose.
So Brandon, I guess we'll start with you again. Tell us how you got involved at LVR and what led you to, not why you did it, but what steps you kind of took to get to this point.
So Vonda made me do it, literally. First of all, she made me get involved in Women's Council. If you don't know, I was actually president of Women's Council in 2013, the first only male, they won't let another male do it now, in the Las Vegas chapter. Well, when I did that, they encouraged me to go to leadership, the state leadership program, and that's how I started to get involved a little bit more, understanding the process and what goes on. And then, like I said, she just made me run. So.
Well, you've got the best broker in the world, you listen to her. And although I network a lot, I thought that Janet, when she's telling me to go to this, that, and the other, I thought, why would I want to network with realtors? I don't even care for realtors. But she encouraged me to get involved and go.
Choose your audience.
Yeah. Well, I love you all, of course, but that present company excluded. But yeah, I said, what am I working with realtors for? I mean, they're not going to give me any business, but of course, Janet explained, and I can't tell you what a benefit it's been when you put that offer in and you have the relationship with somebody. It's all about the relationship. That's what it's all about. And I can't tell you how many times that relationship made a difference in me getting my offer accepted versus not. And look, I love what we do, and whatever I can do to give back to our community, our real estate community, I've always wanted to do. And this is my little way of giving back a little more.
Love it. So same thing, my parents told me I should get on a committee if I'm going to be a serious realtor. So I got on the scholarship committee, and most people don't know we even have those. So if you have a kid that's in college or graduating high school that's going to college, the association offers a scholarship to participating members. And what they mean by that is you have to be in a committee or in service. And I was actually just kind of past that age a little bit. I went to school. I went in the front door and left. But I went and applied for that, and I loved the fact that they did it, so I joined that committee. And just kind of like Janet, I served on a lot of things. I actually never have chaired a committee at Las Vegas Realtor. I've chaired a PAC, but I've never chaired a group. And there was an election for MLS. And I thought, this is cool, MLS system, that sounds like fun. And so it was actually where you go into a room of 6 people, and there were only 3 candidates for 2 spots, and guess who didn't get in? This guy, right? And I'm like, that sucks. And so the very next week, there was an election for the board of directors, and I'm thinking, wow, there's no chance I can do that yet. And I looked at the criteria and I qualified. You only had to serve on a committee. You had to be a member for, I believe it was at least 2 years then. And I'm like, wow, I fulfilled all the requirements. And I ran and I won. And I was still shocked that I won. I won by like 13 or 14 votes. And I beat out Keith Lynham. That's what the best part about it was, right? And so I won that election, and then I went forward from that point, and best decision I ever made. And like Ellie said, the relationships, I wouldn't be here working at Signature if it wasn't for the relationship I made with Janet and Brandon and everybody else. So cool part about it. What are you most and least excited about during your role as director? Ellie, we'll start with you.
Well, what I'm most excited about is the chance to give back and have a voice for the average, guy and gal. That's what I'm most excited about. I'm not sure if there's anything that I'm least excited about right now. I can't think of anything. Maybe I'm just too ignorant and don't know what the hell I'm getting into. But at this point, I'm just very excited about having a chance to, again, give back to our real estate community.
What am I most excited about? Most excited about is seeing what we've started and been working on, or the board was working on for years, but some of the stuff we worked on this year and seeing how that progresses and implementing a few more things that we have kind of on the strat plan, the strategic plan. What I'm least excited about is, or nervous about, is how the makeup of the board comes out. Because we've been on good boards, we've been on bad boards, and sometimes you get a lot of drama on the board and a lot of inner bickering and people going for their own agendas. So I'm least excited if I get a board like that. But we've had a very cohesive one this year, and so I'm hoping that next year it will be just as good.
So I'm most excited about the collaboration. It's amazing at the amount of things that you can do to positively impact the industry by your participation in that board, and there have been a lot of great examples of that. What I'm least excited about is kind of similar to the drama. What I've noticed over the years, there's a lot of backbiting and diminishing fellow realtors that goes on in these elections. And so I've always had the standpoint of, a high tide lifts all boats, and we literally have people out there torpedoing people on purpose. And I just don't think the core of the realtor value says treat others as you want to be treated, and yet we have people in leadership positions that are out there on Facebook demeaning other realtors. And I think that we got to do more to kind of repeal that and bring it back. To this year's election policy is the strictest I've ever seen. I can't post on Facebook about anything to do with this election unless I get it approved by a committee. That's never happened, right? I can't even send out a flyer that's not approved to look at the way that I presented it. That's how bad things have gotten. And I think that's a sign of the troubles that we're facing. Okay, based on your observation, and this is personal and business-wise, what do you think the biggest issue is out there facing realtors here in Las Vegas?
I don't know. I've always had an issue with, and I'm not against part-timers. I am a little bit against spare-timers. There's a big difference. A part-timer treats their business like a business only on a part-time basis. A spare-timer is willy-nilly. Oh, my sister's gonna sell her house. I haven't sold a house in 3 years. I'm gonna list it and screw it all up. That is my biggest issue with us right now. There's too many people that don't know what they're doing. I got it on, well, it doesn't matter. There's too many people out there that don't know what they're doing, and it seems like we don't do anything about it. I will tell you, I got this offer from this lady. She, God bless her, she's probably been in the business longer than I'm alive, and I give her credit for that. This offer was so poorly put together, I had no choice but to call her and say, are you sure this is the way you want to submit this offer? And she's an old pro, and I couldn't help whether I'd right or wrong. I had to coach her along a little bit. It's ridiculous. That kind of person should not be in our business right now. And that's the one thing that bugs me more than anything else.
I'd go along with that. Two things. Number one is the professionalism in our industry. I mean, just right back to the story that Todd was talking about, where they're not even returning the call. And that makes us all look bad to our clients and everything else. So I think the professionalism is a big thing. And then you always hear about the changing technology, the iBuyers, different things like that are affecting our business. And I think those things have an opportunity to affect our business or change the way we do business if we don't become more professional and we don't become that trusted advisor for that client. If there's no reason for them to talk to you, or you're not going to give them the service or the experience that they deserve through that process, they will use the automated technology and stuff, and we will be replaced.
So I gotta think, I'm gonna call it Chicken Little syndrome, and that is that I see consistently in our industry that every time something changes in the world, agents are out there saying, I'm out of business. There's no way I'll survive it. There's no way we'll make it through. This will never benefit us in any way. And I think that the problem with agents is there's very few good brokers teaching agents to build sustainability, right? And I think that's why we're all here, is a good broker that's coaching, training, and promoting their agents versus others that just kind of, like Ellie said, let them out there and practice on the public. And so if your business is sustainable because you're working multiple business streams, no other company can put you out of business except yourself. And I think that in our industry, there's no other industry that basically reacts to everything that happens without a plan. But real estate agents do that for some reason. And I think that we've always said, Brandon and I communicated many times, that it's not the board's job to provide you with a brokerage service. It's their job to provide you with a level playing field in order to operate. And I think that many times we've crossed that threshold in ways that we shouldn't have. But I think it's about really building up agents to be sustainable. Okay, so what are your long-term plans with LVR? Now that you're running for director, have you kind of envisioned the steps down the road?
Well, me, I'm so old, I don't know if I'll be around that long. But no, I'm kidding. I'm young at heart, man. I'm a kid. Listen, I am going to be doing this for a long time, and at this point, I see myself going all the way. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome. So when you run and you become president-elect, it's a 3-year sentence. Or term. Because you're president-elect, you move into president, and then you move into past president. So it's a 3-year term. And so the next step, logically for me, would be the state, and running for the state vice president, which is a 4-year sentence. Because you go vice president, president-elect, president, past president. So this year I'm kind of evaluating whether I go that next step, and I want to make that commitment for another 4 years, so to speak. And so, but that would be the next logical step for me is state.
Did you say sentence?
Sentence, yeah, he said sentence. Yeah. No parole.
At least it's not life.
So I guess my whole question has been, where do I go from here? And so believe it or not, I could go to what they call an RVP, which my dad was an RVP. It's like a regional president over 6 states. It's a lot of fun, a lot of travel. You get to meet agents all over. It's a great referral position, by the way, because people refer to you when you go and meet them. And so I thought a lot about running for that, but I joined a regional committee that actually precluded me from running for 2 years. And so that's why I had to step back and really find out, what can I run for? I could try to get an appointment to the state board. I could just stay on a national committee. And I think Las Vegas Realtors, as a director, you make the biggest impact across the state. And so that's why I kind of decided to do it. If I run for RVP, you're actually elected by a committee, which is really weird. I'm on that committee. There's 2 from each state. They vet candidates, they decide on a person they're going to promote, and then it goes for a vote at the region. But it's like, here's the candidate, vote yes or no, right? No one wants to be the bad guy and say no. And so everyone that's been selected is one, but it's definitely different. I don't know if I'll go further from there. NAR presidents seem to not feel good about the world. They're just gray-haired and upset. So I don't know if I want to do it, but I may seek local office here somewhere. That'd be kind of interesting. Okay, so every director, every candidate is always asked to talk about the market. And so, Brandon, you're going to get asked, you're the spokesperson for the association. Tell us what you see happening with the market over the next few years. What are your crystal ball plans?
The market's hot.
That's the action response.
Yeah, it's up over 22% from last year. We broke the median price of 400. So those are all talking points. So every month they come out with the talking points for the president. You'll see all the news interviews, and they even do a video at the board. I honestly think we're going to be in a stable market. I don't think we're going to see the huge increases that we've seen over the past, but I don't think we're going to see huge decreases. And the reason being is because of lack of inventory, the lack of new home construction. Since the slowdown, since they stopped building after the recession, they haven't built enough homes to accommodate the population growth. So I think we're going to be stable for some time on that. Some factors that could influence that, obviously, is interest rates. Right now, people are able to pay the higher prices because they got low interest rates, which gives them more buying power. If that changes, you might see some fluctuation in prices, but I don't think you're going to see a crash.
Why would I argue with that, huh?
Right.
I mean, that's right up what I'm thinking. I don't see any kind of change, really. I think we have stabilized a little bit. I certainly do not see the market dropping any significance. Shelley made a great presentation a few sales meetings ago, and there are just very few people in forbearance today. I mean, people have equity. We're in a very strong, solid housing market. And I was glad to see our 405 stay at 405 and not go to 406 last month. So I think we've stabilized, and I'm, again, the new housing market is just what Brandon said. We don't have enough. So I think we're fine in the end. I do. The worst case scenario is, like you said, if the interest rates do escalate a little bit, we may see a little drop, a little dip. That's an adjustment, yeah, a small adjustment, and I have no problem with that.
Which is actually healthy.
Yes, I agree. Right.
So since I've been licensed since 2004, there's been 6 market shifts that I've had to go through in different sub-markets that have caused the shift to happen. There was a guy when I was a kid that I knew through the real estate association that Al Levy had above his desk a sign that said, "Dear Lord, please give me one more great real estate market. I promise not to piss it all away," right? And that's where we're at. We keep getting these opportunities in a marketplace, and there can be no progression if there is an opportunity, right? So there has to be changes and shifts and things that go on. But I think what we're facing is, the strain on affordability. The fact that a brand new buyer can't buy a home easily anymore in Southern Nevada. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, I can't easily buy a home in Manhattan, and I sure the hell can't easily buy a home in Newport, right? And what do? I live somewhere else, or I spend my money somewhere else, and I save up and I make that a goal. And so I'm not really worried that affordability is going to put us out of business, but it is going to force us to cycle our clientele, right? We have a lot of people that made all of their money from first-time home buyers, and they've never worked with sustainable investment owners or sustainable move-up buyers. And so I think that we're going to have to shift the way that we educate realtors on look for more business sources, right? And the one thing that's hurting Vegas is we have no light rail anywhere. And so in most places, your consumers that are coming here from California, New York, they commute an hour and a half to work. You guys are pissed when the 215's backed up for 15 minutes, right? And so I think that we're gonna have to condition people in the way that we sell them on these outlying areas, because Pahrump is still pretty affordable. Mesquite is still pretty affordable. Moapa is a rising community, right? And so I think the whole point is that we gotta look at opportunities elsewhere, and I think that's gonna be the hardest shift that we're gonna have to go through, for sure. Right? Hey, listen, my uncle owned a store in Moapa. It was a thriving business, until it wasn't. Okay, so do we have any questions online? Nope. Not yet. Do we have any questions in the audience before we go on to other topics? Chickens. Okay, so we want to get your take on a few of these topics, and this one I know is burning a hole in everyone's pocket. Tell us about the area codes countdown and what you think of that whole debacle.
Can I go first? Sure. I could care less. When I came from Detroit, we didn't have that area code crap. So I never bothered to learn it. I don't know any of the codes, maybe 606 that live there. I don't know, I don't care. So no effect on me at all.
So this has been a hot button for a lot of people. And I get it, but I don't get it. I get it because people have used it and they've relied on it. I don't get it because there's still other ways to search. But it was a hot topic in debate at the board meetings. The board elected to do away with it, then it came back up, and then it's gone, just so you know. They've already made it not mandatory, so if you're searching for buyers through area codes, stop, because you're not getting all the properties. Okay, so it's gone. But when we talk about history, I now know exactly why the area codes were created. And it's interesting because I had dinner with Patty and Keith was part of them during that time when all that was done. The old white guys in the back room that drew up the area codes. But it was done because we were switching from MLS books. And can you imagine how many people were up in arms that we were doing away with the books, right? And yet none of us would ever want to use one of the books because they came out like what, once a week?
Yeah, there was
or once a
ones
month?
underneath the cars.
cars when that happened.
bombs into the cars, slow people down, because they're all rushing to the one house that came on the market. But it was done so it gave them a way to be able to search the homes, and that's what it was. But that was years ago, and we've moved past that, and it's time that we do grow and go through that. And I know it's gonna be painful for some, but the Band-Aid's been ripped off, so here we go.
I think I've seen you go through this, and Ellie and I have talked about it. I think this is the prime example of why nothing ever gets done, right? Because the simple thing that really, like Ellie said, doesn't really impact our lives, brought everyone up in arms. It was rolled out, I think, poorly, because who puts on a 200-day countdown? I mean,
That was the worst part.
yeah, I mean, because every time someone logs in, they're pissed again.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
I mean, that's like showing your client, the house they didn't buy is going up in price every day, and they should, that whole thing. And so I just didn't care for the rollout. I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but I think that this is evident of why it's so hard to accomplish big change, because as soon as you change one thing, you have a whole group of people that are upset, you have a whole group of people who are excited, and the majority don't know what the hell you're talking about, right? Janet?
I can tell you why the rollout took so long, because it came up at a board meeting, I don't know, January, February, and they were gonna give them like 30 days. And a couple of people on the board went bananas over that, and it was pointed out, why would you make such a major change during the prime buying season? And so therefore, the board moved it to October to show the prime buying season would have shifted a little bit, and everybody could adapt. That was the reason.
Sounds
Right,
good, she said.
but just know it was really the decision of the MLS board, so be mad at them. Well, Tom and Janet are on that board. All right?
No, it was the executive board, it was a board of directors, the board of directors.
No, it was sent to us from MLS, and then we did it. And yes, we did extend it. One member of the board asked to extend it, so it didn't happen through the selling season. We were all on board for that. The countdown comes down to this, because at the end of that countdown,
Boom.
people are still going to say, you never told me that it was going away. And so it was an attempt, I think, of the MLS to communicate with the members, and yeah, it caused a big uprising. Maybe they should have done it 30 days out.
So what do you guys feel about the lockbox system going away? I'm just kidding, that wasn't a question, that's not. But we do have something that is changing, and it was just notified that the form system is being converted, and there's a lot of good reason behind that, actually, that makes a lot of sense. What is it that you're finding out from the conversion? Brandon, we'll ask this of you because you're going through this as president. You're going to have to deal with the process. What are your feelings on the forms change?
So the reasons for the forms change is, number one, we've been using transaction desks for a while. They have been sold. They're purchased by Lone Wolf. The reliability of the forms and getting things updated in a timely manner and the cost of everything didn't make it feasible for the board to go down that path anymore. So we looked at a couple different form vendors and selected one, and it's going to be Remind. Remind's already in your system, and they have a great form system. There's going to be some adjustment to it because the technology in it is pretty cool in the way that you can actually negotiate a transaction without doing addendums, by just actually making changes to the contract, and at the end everyone signs it and it's done. So you kind of negotiate that way. You don't have to use it that way. You can still do the PDF and go across, send it the same way you've been doing. But if you embrace that and you learn that, and I think the other members of the board, it'll make our business a lot cleaner, and you'll have cleaner documents and everything. It'll be a good thing. But there is going to be a learning curve. It will run congruent with transaction desk for a couple months. I think we're going live, was it October, or maybe October or November, and it'll run through December concurrent, and then 1st of next year, transaction desk will go away. So if you've got documents in there, start getting them out if you want them, because they won't transition over. Okay, but it is a good move, and again, it's more reliable service. It'll be quicker. It'll be really good, but it will be a little bit of a learning curve. So when it launches, I encourage you, even though it's running parallel, start using it. Okay.
I don't have much to say other than I never liked transaction desk. So I am not sorry to see it go. I don't like change either, but I always adapt, so I'm good with it.
No, I love that you said that, because when we started on that path with them, one of the big things was their signature system's Authentisign, right? And so the biggest debate I was ever in was when Janet and I first got on the board, digital signatures were just coming out in 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. And a lot of people didn't have it and some people did. And we had a whole debate over $5 per member to give everyone a digital signature system, right? And the funny part is, a lot of people just hated the system, so they didn't use it anyway. But that's what you're faced with when you're on the board. This reminds me of what happened when the MLS used to be a data storage archive, if you remember that. And a lot of brokers were using that to store their brokerage files. And then the vendor traded the product and they no longer offered it. And so all of the members that had relied on it, it was gone. And so this is just a side effect of doing business as an association, that you could have a great vendor, they get purchased by another major company, and you have to pivot your peers.
And there still are companies that use transaction desk as their file system, like we use SkySlope. The nice thing about us using SkySlope is we control that, so we're not going to be disrupted on any of your existing files or storage of those to stay compliant. All we really use transaction desk is to fill out documents and get signatures, and that's what you'll use Remind for.
Okay, so last question. What are your thoughts on the makeup of the board of directors, and is it as effective as it could be?
Is it as effective? Well, the makeup of the board of directors, to me, is a good makeup. It's got a real nice variety. And I think that's important when you have a board. You don't want everybody in the same mindset. You want people to think differently and talk differently and look at the future differently. That's what makes up a strong board. And I hope and believe that whatever the decisions that the board makes at the end of the day, everybody jumps on behind it and supports it and promotes it, and we're all united as one.
So, the makeup of the board?
Yeah.
We've got a good board this year, we really do. It's very diverse. We've got people from large companies, small companies, different ethnic backgrounds, different experience levels. It's good, and I think you need that cross-section. What I would like is, I wish members understood actually what the board is actually there to do. And because some of the posts you see on social media and attacking the board has no control over a lot of that stuff, and even the people that are running, some of the promises they're making, the stuff they're saying, and some of them know better because they're on the board, but you're not going to go in and change the world, but you do get the ability to make a difference, have a voice, and represent the members.
I think that the way it's set up for a while, not this year's been pretty good, but one of the concerns that I saw is there's a lot of people making decisions on products and services, and they were on the board, and they never sold a house that year. And so they're deciding on services to use that they're not using. Would that concern any of you?
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that there should be a little bit of both, like you said. Believe it or not, the majority of our membership are not practicing agents. So the majority of the dues-paying members are not selling houses. That's issue number one, but they deserve representation. And so I think there needs to be consideration for that group that's made up and people that understand what it is to be a part-time realtor and they have representation on the board. The other side is the other coin, right? The people practicing doing more than one deal a year that are using the services and have real glitches and problems. I hear agents all the time that would come up and say, the MLS service stinks. And I said, what's wrong with it? Well, it doesn't do this when you put in a listing. Send me an email, we'll get it fixed. And when you actually get that email from that agent and it gets fixed, the shock on their face is incredible. I had no idea, I could just tell somebody, right? And so I think that you need to have some people on the board that are actually, showing that they're producing and selling houses. And I think that should be coming up in election. Like Ellie is a high producing real estate agent. I feel really good with him vetting transaction desk and knowing that that's going to be successful, right? The other side is brokers. We have a owner of a company that's a large company that is going to be leading our board. Do you know how long it's been since that's happened? I mean, that is the makeup that we really should be seeing. And I'll give you one last piece. The past presidents, the has-been committee.
Hey, you chaired that committee.
Yeah, I did.
You were a chair.
My current vice chair. Let me tell you what I learned about past presidents. You want to give them enough information to feel good about whatever's going to happen, or you'll hear about it later. And so Keith Lynham came up with a great idea that I think we should do, and that's to commit one space on the board of directors to only a past president and let them fight over it. That would solve half of the Facebook problems. But again, just another idea, and I think we could change that makeup of the board. In closing, last things you want to say to the group in your bid for president?
Yeah, so what I would say is this: if you have any frustrations or anything like that, do communicate it. You have a portal here with me, Chris, Janet always has connections to the board. Ellie can also get you in contact with people, but the fact of the matter is, communicate that. If you want to get involved, you want to talk to me or anything about committees, committee appointments are going to start right after the election. And so there's some appointed committees such as forms and grievance and stuff like that that I get to pick seats for. So if there's anything like that that you're interested in, please send me a message in the app. Don't email me, it'll get lost. But send me a message or communicate with me and let me know you have interest. And if you're interested in anything to do about any committee, Janet she knows, she's been on every one, but she can sit down with you and talk about what you really want to do to get involved. And I would love to see more. I mean, we have a lot of representation of Signature at all the committee meetings, which is pretty awesome. But I would love, during my year of president, to really have a big push from Signature to be involved.
Before I give you my final words, today is a Trends Committee meeting. And if you can be there, Google register if you haven't yet, 11 o'clock Zoom. Jeremy Arguello is going to be speaking. Of course, he's always fantastic. For me, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you vote for me, it's a vote for you. I'm the guy out there in the trenches. I'm here to represent you. And if you ever want free coffee, I'll bring you into the office here.
So at the end of at the end of the day, a couple of hopes that I have. Hope number one is that this guy gets elected because we need his service on the board. There's no better representative, and I'm saying that as a candidate, than Ellie, right? And so please make sure that you vote for Ellie and that you vote as soon as possible. The other side of it is please ask the other agents that you're working with and you know to vote. And there's going to be hopefully 6 new directors if everything works out right. And so as long as Ellie gets in, I'll be really happy about the outcome, and hopefully I can skirt past and make it work. Last thing on my side of it from a company, right now, Brandon is the only Signature agent representing that board. We're too large of a company to let that continue, and when Ellie gets elected and Brandon's there and I hopefully tag along, that's 2 years we'll have that representation. So we need people now to decide that they want to start running for key positions so that we can utilize Brandon as president to help make that happen. And so if you're out there thinking of service, like Brandon said, please consider it, because you may not need it, but your industry needs you.
And I'll leave you with this. So normally every year I'm very vocal on who I would support. I'll be very vocal that I support these two, but I'm not going to publicly, you won't see me endorse any of the other candidates. And it's not because I don't have strong opinions, it's because win or lose, I gotta work with them, right? But if you're curious about who I want to support or whatever, I'm willing to have those conversations with you one-on-one and talk about it, or if you have questions about any of the candidates, happy to have those as well. But I've made a decision this year to really stay out of it and not create contention like I've seen in the past from the president coming in, so.
Cool. Thanks, Al.
There you go. All right, so make sure you vote early, vote often, use your mail-in ballots. No, just kidding. All right, and we'll turn it over to Janet, and other than that, you guys have a great week.
Y'all skipped me earlier. Okay, so mark your calendar, Friday, September 24th from 4 to 8.
I got it.
The 9th, count it, the 9th annual Signature Family Picnic. It's going to be at Hills Park. Bring your family. You can bring your 4-legged family members. Usually there are more dogs than kids there, but the only thing we need is an RSVP because it's all going to be catered, so you don't have to bring a dish to share. We need to know how many people are coming. So please RSVP. Just email Kim, see her on your way out the door, but we need a count. Friday, September 24th, 4 to 8. And one other thing, no alcohol is allowed in the park, so please be discreet. Sherry.
Okay, and Sherry needs to do something? Is that what you said?
The raffle.
Okay.
I have one quick question. On the voting, you have 5 votes for the board. Is it maybe a better psychology to only vote for the couple that you want and then leave those other votes because there might be
It's called one-shotting.
Yeah, you don't have to use all 5 votes, I'll say that.
Okay.
Vote for the people that you feel strongly about being on the board, okay? So we're gonna have Sherry do the drawing, put on that picnic. It is an amazing event, and we'd love to see you guys all out there. Years ago, me and Mike used to cook the chicken, but we do have it catered, and so it's all cooked and it's well done and it's good. So.
Another campaign promise delivered on.
Come on up, Sherry.
One more salmonella.
No, it's a great event though. Please, please, please come.
You know what, I just want to mention this too. Our board, our president, our whole everything is all done on total volunteer. These men, all of the people that keep our industry in place are doing it on their own free time. And this guy, you know, he's our broker owner, busy guy, and he's going to be president of our industry and of our local. So let's give them guys a big hand. On that note,
Let's drink.
let's drink. Okay, so I'm going to let the first guy winner pick. That was the overall decision. Okay. Are you ready?
Which one?
They get to pick. First guy gets to pick. Honey Jack Daniels or coffee
I
flavored
thought you
Bailey?
meant pick the next ticket. That's the
Oh, that would be good. Okay, 254-7274. Okay, it's probably one of those 20 hanging around Shelley or on
Is it right there?
That's okay, must be present to my sure.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Oh. Mom, get with it. 274. So last. Who is it? Estrella again. Get out. Oh my God, she won last week. Okay.
Which one do you want?
Which one do you want?
Bailey.
The Baileys.
All right, Bailey's for Estrella. Wow, she's a lucky gal. I'm gonna take her gambling. All right, next one is the Honey Jack Daniels. I really shake these up too.
A lot of Jack.
Yeah. Okay.
Bill.
254-7302.
Are you sure?
257.
Pardon me? 302? 302.
Kim!
Yeah, yay! All right, guys, see you next
Do you
week.
know how much it is?
Pardon me?
Do you know how much it is?
Oh, no, we haven't counted. Oh, last week I counted. Oh, shoot, I forgot. I was so into the meeting, I forgot to count. But it's a lot, you guys. Thank you all so very much.
Have a great week.
Where'd you go, Kim? Oh, there you go.